All right, so today we're diving into HyperCycle. Have you ever wondered what an internet of AI would look like? That's exactly what HyperCycle wants to build. Individual AIs all connected, acting like neurons in a giant global brain. It's a pretty wild concept. We've got white papers and project overviews, even a peek at their DApp to help us understand all this. So are you ready to break down what HyperCycle is and how it actually works?
Yeah, what's so fascinating about hypercycles, it's not just about connecting AIs, it's also about making your existing AI smarter and more profitable. Just imagine a network where AIs can interact and share knowledge and even pay each other for services.
So you're saying my AI could get smarter and richer just by hanging out with other AIs? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. But how does all this happen securely and efficiently? The white papers mention something called TODA protocols and Earth-64. What are those all about?
Those are like the foundation of hypercycle. 2DA stands for Theory of Distributed Agents. And it's basically the framework that lets all these AI agents communicate and transact securely. One of the key TODA protocols is 2DA IP. It's essentially a blockchain protocol, but get this, it's ledgerless.
Ledgerless. Wait a minute. Isn't a blockchain all about the ledger? How does that even work?
That's what makes TODA IP so cool. Instead of having a central ledger, it uses a network of these interconnected cycles to verify transactions. And this makes it super fast, efficient, and scalable. We're talking instant confirmations, no more waiting for blocks to be mined like in traditional blockchains.
So my AI could be zipping around, making deals, and getting things done instantly. That's a serious upgrade from what we have now.
Okay, so what about Earth-64? Where does that fit into this AI universe?
Earth-64 is like the GPS for this whole global AI brain. It's this data structure that gives every piece of data in HyperCycle a physical location on Earth. And we're not talking about general areas here. We're talking about a resolution of 1 square centimeter, basically the size of your fingertip. Whoa, hold on. Are you telling me they mapped the entire planet down to the size of my fingertip just for AI data? That's some seriously ambitious stuff.
It is. But that's what makes things like microtransactions and super fast data sharing between AIs possible. Imagine your AI paying a tiny fraction of a cent for a specific piece of information from another AI on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
That's the kind of detail and speed we're talking about here.
This is seriously blowing my mind. It's like something straight out of science fiction. So we have this network of AIs all connected. There has to be some kind of central processing unit, right? Some brain cells driving all this activity.
Exactly. That's where HyperCycle Computation Nodes, or HCNs, come in. These are like the special agents that let the AI systems communicate, transact, and collaborate with each other.
Okay, so these HCNs are like the key players here, but how do they actually operate within the network? What makes them tick?
Each HCN has three main parts: a virtual machine, a transaction machine, and an AI machine.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of acronyms here. Can you break down what these machines actually do?
Sure, think of the virtual machine as the social butterfly of the HCN. It's the part that connects with other nodes, negotiates contracts, and can even outsource tasks to other HCNs if needed. It's all about building relationships and getting things done.
So the virtual machine is the deal maker, the networker. Sounds like a pretty important job. What about the transaction machine? Does that handle all the payments going back and forth?
You got it. The transaction machine is the financial whiz, making sure all the transactions are secure and super fast. Remember today IP and Earth-64? Well, the transaction machine uses those to process payments and confirm them almost instantly. We're talking sub-second speeds.
Wow, no more waiting around for confirmations. That's a total game changer for AI collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally we have the AI machine. What's its role in all of this?
The AI machine is like the heart of the HCN. It's where the magic happens. This is where the AI modules run, doing everything from simple tasks to these complex AI operations. It's what allows the HCN to actually provide and use AI services within the whole network.
So we've got these HCNs with their virtual machines connecting their transaction machines, handling payments, and their AI machines doing the actual AI work. It's like a well-oiled machine of intelligent agents. But here's the million-dollar question. How do these HCNs actually make money? What's the incentive for people to set them up and run them?
That's where HPC tokens come into play. HCNs earn these HPC tokens by providing AI services to the network. It's like a reward system that encourages participation and high-quality service.
HPC tokens, so they're like the currency of this AI world.
Exactly. HPC tokens are what keeps the whole hypercycle engine running. And here's the really clever part. A small percentage of every transaction goes back to the hypercycle network itself. This helps to support its growth and development.
That's a smart way to make sure everyone benefits from the network's success. But how does HyperCycle decide which HCNs get the most work? Is it a free-for-all?
Not at all. There's a unique scoring system that evaluates each HCN. It looks at things like its uptime, the amount of computation it's doing, and its overall reputation. It's kind of like a credit score, but for AIs.
So the higher the score, the more trustworthy and in demand the HCN becomes. That makes sense. But how do you actually get one of these HCNs up and running? Do you need to build it from scratch?
To activate your own HCN, you need a few key ingredients. A node, license some HPC tokens and the hardware to actually run the AI software. HyperCycle calls this process provenance marriage. It's where you combine these elements to give your node a unique identity.
Provenance marriage. That sounds awfully romantic for a technical process, but I guess it makes sense in a way. You're bringing together all these essential pieces to create this new AI node. But what if I wanted to team up with other people to run an HCN? Is that something that's possible?
Definitely. That's where hypershares come in. It lets groups of people operate an HCN together using this decentralized system. This system manages the governance, the ownership, and how the revenue gets shared. They even have this share creation wizard in their dApp to make setting up a hypershare really easy.
So it's like forming an AI co-op, pooling resources and expertise to increase your chances of success. That's a really interesting approach. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from this big idea of a global AI brain to all the nitty-gritty details of how these HCNs work, how they make money, and even how they can collaborate with each other. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It is, isn't it? And we're just scratching the surface here. HyperCycle's ultimate goal is to create a true Internet of AI, a world where AI systems can work together seamlessly to tackle those really complex problems that no single AI could handle on its own.
That's an incredible vision. It sounds like we're on the verge of a major breakthrough in AI. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, let's make sure we're all on the same page here. Can you quickly recap the key takeaways for our listeners so far?
Of course. So what we've learned today is that HyperCycle is this revolutionary project that wants to build this decentralized network of interconnected AI systems. It uses cutting-edge technology like TODA IP Earth-64, these fascinating HyperCycle computation nodes, and all of this enables secure, efficient, and profitable collaboration between all these different AIs. It's definitely a complex system, but the potential benefits for AI are huge.
Perfectly put. So we have this incredible network of collaborating AI, a whole symphony of intelligent agents working together to solve problems and push the boundaries of what's possible. But this raises a big question. If HyperCycle succeeds in creating this global AI brain, what kind of intelligence might actually emerge? How could this interconnected web of AI change the world as we know it? We'll explore these questions and more when we come back for part 2 of our deep dive into HyperCycle. So stay tuned.
Welcome back. It's exciting to dig a little deeper into the potential impact of HyperCycle. I mean, this interconnected web of AI could really revolutionize a lot of industries. It's just so many different parts of our lives.
I'm ready to have my mind blown. Where do we even start? The possibilities seem endless with something like this.
Well, let's start with one of HyperCycle's most interesting features. It's something they call layer fluidity. This means that it can operate across all these different layers of a blockchain system, adapting to different situations and roles as it goes.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Can you explain what that actually means in simpler terms and why it matters so much?
So think about it this way. Most blockchains are kind of limited to certain layers, like they might just handle transactions or execute smart contracts. But HyperCycle is different. It can switch between all these different roles really smoothly. Like it can be a base layer, a side chain, or even a bridge between different blockchains.
So it's like the Swiss Army knife of blockchains. That's incredibly versatile.
Exactly. And this flexibility is what lets HyperCycle integrate with and improve all these existing blockchain ecosystems. For example, it could totally supercharge those decentralized finance platforms, DeFi, by enabling those super fast microtransactions we talked about before, and handling all those complex smart contract interactions.
Now that you mentioned DeFi, one of the sources talked about HyperCycle's ability to handle microtransactions on a massive scale. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. Microtransactions are those tiny payments, often just fractions of a cent. They're really hard to do on traditional blockchains because the fees are so high. But with TODA and its efficiency, it makes these microtransactions totally possible. And that opens up so many new opportunities.
So we could be paying for things like individual articles we read online, or making tiny donations to open source projects.
Exactly. Imagine a world where you can directly support content creators, artists, developers. With these tiny micropayments, it can make the digital economy so much fairer and more vibrant.
That's definitely a future I want to be a part of. But it's not just about payments, right? The sources also mention that HyperCycle lets AIs share data securely and efficiently. How does that actually work?
HyperCycle uses those TODA protocols and that Earth-64 data structure we were talking about to make sure that data sharing between AIs is both secure and efficient. It's like each AI has its own little secure data vault, and they can choose to grant access to other AIs only when they need to.
It's like a high-security library for all this AI knowledge. Each AI contributes its own expertise, and then they can all tap into this collective wisdom of the entire network. That's really powerful. But there was one thing that stood out in the white papers. They kept emphasizing this idea of provenance. Can you explain what that means in the context of HyperCycle?
Provenance is basically about tracing the origin and history of something, to make sure it's authentic and trustworthy. In HyperCycle, every single transaction and every piece of data has a verifiable trail. This makes the whole system incredibly secure and transparent.
So it's like a digital chain of custody, but for data and transactions. It definitely adds a whole new level of trust and accountability to the network.
You got it. And this is super important in a decentralized system. You need to be absolutely certain about where the information is coming from and that it hasn't been tampered with. It's one of the things that makes HyperCycle so strong and reliable.
It's clear that HyperCycle has the potential to totally change how AI operates and how they interact. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the human side of things. How could this technology impact people like you and me?
Oh, the possibilities are pretty much endless. Take education, for example. Imagine having AI tutors that are tailored to your specific learning style. They adapt to your progress in real time and give you personalized feedback.
That would be incredible. No more one-size-fits-all learning. It would be like having education designed specifically for you.
Exactly. And what about healthcare? AI-powered tools could analyze your medical history, your genetics, even your lifestyle to give you totally personalized health advice and even catch diseases early on.
So we could have personalized medicine that's actually tailored to each person's needs. That's amazing.
The potential is huge. And it's not just about improving things we already have. HyperCycle could also lead to entirely new industries and applications, things we can't even imagine yet.
Now that's what I call food for thought. We've talked a lot about the positive impact HyperCycle could have on different industries, but what about potential downsides? The sources we looked at mentioned some challenges and risks as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's really important to remember that any technology as powerful as HyperCycle is going to come with some risks. One concern is what we call unintended consequences. This emergent intelligence, this global AI brain, could start behaving in ways that we don't fully expect or can't control.
It's like opening Pandora's box, but with AI. We need to be super careful and responsible with how we develop and use something like this.
Absolutely. Ethical considerations have to be a top priority when we're talking about HyperCycle's development. We need to make sure that this technology benefits everyone, not just a select few. And another challenge is just the sheer complexity of managing such a massive decentralized network. Making sure it's stable, secure, and fair requires a lot of careful planning and governance.
It's definitely a daunting task, but it's essential to get it right. The stakes are just too high to mess this up.
Exactly. HyperCycle's success is going to depend on more than just its technical brilliance. It's also going to depend on our ability to understand and manage the ethical and societal impacts of this kind of transformative technology. It's a shared responsibility that's going to require a lot of collaboration and open discussion. We need input from lots of different fields and perspectives.
It seems like HyperCycle is more than just this technological marvel. It's really a catalyst for change that has the potential to reshape our entire world in ways that we're only just starting to grasp.
It's an incredibly fascinating journey, and we're just taking the first few steps.
It's a journey I can't wait to see unfold. We've explored all this incredible potential that HyperCycle has, and also acknowledged some of the challenges that come with it. As we move forward, it's crucial to approach something like HyperCycle with both a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of caution. We'll be back for the third and final part of our deep dive into HyperCycle, so stick with us.
Welcome back to the final part of our HyperCycle deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the technical nuts and bolts to all those mind-blowing possibilities. But before we wrap things up, I want to zero in on some of the specific parts that make this whole system work. The sources kept mentioning HyperCycle Computation Nodes, or HCNs, as the brains behind it all. So what exactly are these HCNs and how do they actually function within this massive AI network?
Well, each HCN is kind of like a mini AI business in its own right. It's ready to offer its services and make transactions in this AI-driven economy. They've got their own virtual machines to handle all the networking and transaction machines for secure payments. And of course, the heart of it all is the AI machine, which is what runs the actual AI algorithms. So each HCN is like this self-contained AI powerhouse ready to collaborate and contribute to the network. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. But one thing I'm still trying to wrap my head around is how these HCNs actually make money. What's the incentive for people to set them up and run them?
Well, that's where the HEPC token comes into play. HCNs earn HEC tokens by providing those AI services.
Mm.
And there's this really clever system called a node score that rewards the nodes that perform well. They get scored based on things like their uptime, how much computation they're doing, and their overall reputation within the network. And get this, high-scoring nodes can actually split into two nodes, multiplying your investment.
Hold on, you mean these HCNs can actually reproduce? That's like AI mitosis or something. That's incredible. But how do you
Right.
actually get one of these HCNs up and running in the first place?
To activate an HCN, you basically need three things: a node license, some HEC tokens, and the hardware to run the AI software. HyperCycle calls this whole process provenance marriage. It's where you combine all these elements to create this unique identity for your node.
Provenance marriage. It's like this sacred union of technology and opportunity. But what if I wanted to team up with some friends to run an HCN? Is there a way to do that?
Absolutely, that's where hypershares come in. It's basically a way for groups of people to operate an HCN together. They use this decentralized system to govern the node, manage the ownership, and share any revenue that's generated. HyperCycle even has this cool share creation wizard in their dApp to make setting up a hypershare really easy.
So it's like forming your own little AI syndicate. You're pooling your resources and your brain power to boost your chances of success. That's pretty brilliant. We've talked about the tech, the financial side of things, and even the collaborative aspects. But one question that keeps coming back to me is what kind of AI software will actually be running on these HCNs?
Well, if you think about the bigger picture, HyperCycle is designed to be super flexible. It can run everything from these small developer tools, these really complex enterprise AI applications. It's an open platform, so developers are free to build their own tools and apps on top of the network. Just imagine a world where AI developers can easily profit from their creations. That they could offer their AI as a service right on HyperCycle.
It's like an app store, but for AI. This whole marketplace for intelligent solutions, that's revolutionary. But we can't forget about the underlying tech that makes all of this possible. Can you give our listeners a quick reminder about the key innovations that make HyperCycle so special?
The whole foundation of HyperCycle rests on these two pillars: TODA protocols and the Earth-64 data structure. TODA IP, which is a ledgerless blockchain protocol, ensures that all transactions are secure and efficient. And then you have Earth-64, which provides this unique global address for every single piece of data in the entire network. Those innovations are what make the speed, the scalability, and the security of HyperCycle so groundbreaking.
It's truly remarkable what they've achieved with this project. So we've explored the inner workings of HyperCycle, its vast potential, and even some of the challenges that lie ahead. As we wrap up this deep dive, do you have any final thoughts on this really ambitious project? And what message would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think HyperCycle represents this really bold leap forward in the world of AI. It shows us what's possible with decentralized technologies and the incredible potential of true collaboration. The future of AI is interconnected, and HyperCycle is paving the way for a world where all these intelligent systems can work together seamlessly to solve those really complex problems and create a better future for all of us. It's such an exciting time to be witnessing the birth of this new era of intelligent collaboration.
I completely agree. And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring this amazing world of HyperCycle. Dive into the source material, connect with the community, and just let your imaginations run wild with the possibilities. The future of AI is in our hands. And projects like HyperCycle are giving us the tools to shape it in ways we never thought possible. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.